So we're gonna have a fun, easy loom project. And I say easy because one, we're using the comfort loom, which is really easy to work with. We're also gonna be using 8/0 seed beads instead of 11. We usually use size 11, so 8/0s work up much quicker. And we're just doing a stripe pattern. So we don't actually have to be looking at a sheet of paper as we go. So it's bigger beads, easier pattern, and really easy to work with loom. So that's gonna be fun. I see Thaisa's here helping us, and then hello Monica and Kara and Tanya and Ellen. Hello you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. I know I won't see everyone tomorrow, so a very happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you have a great one. I know we've started the food preparation here. We were breaking up the loaf of bread this morning for the stuffing so it could dry out a little bit. I'm going to be making snowball cookies later. They're more of Christmas, but my son really wanted them, so we're gonna do some snowball cookies. I've got some pumpkin bread to make, so it's gonna be fun. Hello, Carolyn. Oh my gosh, we see some good names here this morning. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope everyone has the day off. I hope that you're relaxing and have a long weekend. But if you don't have the day off today, I hope you have it off tomorrow. And Friday too would be nice. Hello, Connie. Hello, Jane. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Oh my gosh, I love the holidays. They're so much fun. I love everything about them. The festivities, the positivity, the getting together. It's so nice. Oh, hello, Dee. Welcome as well. So how many people are going to put up the Christmas decorations on Friday? I know we are. My kids have been waiting and waiting, and we're going to do it Friday. So that's coming too. So you have Thanksgiving, which is fun. And then the very next day is super fun as well. Hello, Cindy. Happy Thanksgiving. All right, guys, I want to show you what we're going to do today. And sometimes I talk about how the beads actually decide the design. And today it was the charms decided the design because I found some really great charms on the Art Beads website. They're these little mittens and gloves. And so here is our stripey, I'm calling it stripey sweater themed, and that's also why I'm wearing a stripey sweater. Stripey sweater theme, colorful. And then what inspired it were these charms. This is a little mitten. And you can see I pulled out the colors from the mitten in the bracelet, which was really fun to do and really easy. So if you look in that shopping bag icon that we have here, that's kind of like your resource guide, you're going to see the mittens as well as little hats. Let me show you a little hat. These are so cute. So here's a little hat charm as well. So there's little mittens and little hats. And then I picked out a bunch of colors of the 8/0 Toho round seed beads to match the hats and the mittens. So if you want to do a certain mitten, I hopefully have the colors in that shopping bag already to coordinate with the mitten or the hat you choose. But they're really, really cute. I love them. Oh, hello, Lori. Good morning. And Sue from Wisconsin. Hello. So I'm saying good morning because it is 10:03 here. I'm on the Pacific Coast. I know it's good afternoon for those on the East Coast. So wherever you are joining us from, welcome. Thank you for being here. A couple other quick notes before we begin, and I flip my camera down. We are going to be using the Comfort Loom today, which is a great loom. It is also on sale, so it is $5 off and a special gift with purchase. You also get 2 loom needles, a spool of 1G thread, and an Art Beads designer blend of beads with it. I am not going to actually assemble the loom here on the show. I did that in a previous one. Thaisa can link to that. So if you want to see step-by-step instructions on how to actually physically assemble the loom, I've already done that. So you have a really nice slow-paced, every step of the way assembly guide. So you can always go back and reference that. Oh, hello, Ruby. Oh, Michelle is here too. Hello, Michelle. So a quick note about that is it's not hard to do. It does come in a number of pieces, but I do walk you through that step-by-step in that other video. So we're going to concentrate more on stringing the loom today. We're going to do the bead work. We're going to do removing our bead work from it and adding a clasp. So I'm going to do like a sample swatch so we can cover every step of the way on how to make this fun, festive, sweatery themed bracelet today. So that's just that quick note. Of course, all these videos are saved and archived, so if you ever want to go back and rewatch them, you can, which is nice. The replay comes available shortly after we say goodbye. Now, if you are over on Facebook or YouTube commenting right now, quick note, I can't see your comments. I know we've had a lot more people commenting on YouTube, which is wonderful. Thank you guys for commenting. I wish that I had a way of seeing the comments at the same time. So here on Art Beads, I see all the scrolls. So I see Nancy and I see Jackie and I see Cindy. So I can see the comments, which is wonderful. So then if you ask a question or need me to hold something up again, like Oma, hello Oma, I can. Now, if you're on YouTube, just note that as I'm talking right now, I can't actually see your comments. So if you want to pop on over to artbeads.com, it is streaming live here as well. And then when you comment live on Art Beads, I can see the comments. It also gives you access to that shopping bag, the heart, which gives us little floating hearts, share button as well. So pop on over. It makes life a lot easier where I can see your comments as we go. And hello, Susan from Seattle. Hello. I just booked a trip to Seattle to see my family, so I'm going up there in a couple weeks. Always nice to visit up there. All right, and then the other couple quick things, as I mentioned it earlier, there is that resource guide, which is the shopping bag icon. Everything's preloaded in there so you can see my thread. I put a couple other thread colors in there because the thread actually shows on this one a bit. And we're going to be using 1G, which gives us some really nice color options. And then my tools are in there, the beads are in there, the little hats and mittens. So that's a great resource guide. You can add right to your shopping cart from there. And then we are having our site-wide Black Friday sale is already started. It's up to 75% off. The loom itself is $5 off, and that gift with purchase. A lot of the beads are going to be on sale, a lot of the supplies as well with Black Friday. And then free shipping on US orders over $30 will also be free shipping right now. So a lot happening, really fun stuff. So I am going to now flip my camera down. Oh, good. Nancy's saying I'm dying to use my comfort loom. Wonderful, Kat. Hopefully this inspires you, and hopefully this maybe answers questions if you've got some questions. Okay, I'm going to flip my camera down so we can see the bead selection. We'll look at the bracelet closer, and then we'll start the looming. Oh, hello, Subi. So we're actually going to have a nice day here. So there's my comfort loom. Let me just kind of reposition things. I'm going to do a lot of repositioning today because we got a lot of different angles to look at here. All right, and then my table is right here. So let's look at our project a little closer up. And like I said, I probably will have to do a lot of repositioning with the height for the comfort loom as we go. Oh, good, Kat, you put your loom together yesterday. Wonderful. Well, I'm going to share some tips for working with a little bit larger beads here. So let me show you what we're going to make. So what we're going to make is this right here. This is a stripey bracelet using the 8/0 beads. And I did do the double strand like the loom recommends on the outside. So I did notice that you can see the thread a little bit more because of that. We're going to use these slider clasps. And here's that cute little mitten. I love, love, love these charms. So again, that's what inspired the whole project was the little mitten and hat charms. But there is our project. And you can see what that looks like. Oh, okay. Great question, Jane. Yes, you can. You can use 1G for bead weaving. Some people prefer it. It is a personal preference. I tend to use Wildfire or Fireline. It has a little bit more body to it. This is really thin and very flexible. But I do know, like Becky Doll, she loves 1G for bead weaving. So that's really a personal preference. But great question. And no, never any dumb questions here. Please feel free to ask for sure. All right, so I think it's the mittens. I'll let Michelle or Thaisa clarify. I think the mittens come as a set, and then the hats are sold separately. But I think you get the entire set of mittens, which is just too darn cute. So these are really pretty. Okay, Michelle's saying correct. So when you order these, you get an entire set of mittens, which are so sweet. I love this one too. That's a really cute one. You can see that nice detailing. And then see my beads here, which are all there in the shopping bag, all match and coordinate the colors. Like I love this color here. This is, what is this? This is Rainbow Frosted Pumpkin. But you can see if you were doing this little mitten, how perfect that little bead would be. And you can even start to mix that with even like some turquoises. So you just start to build out your palette made off of the colors of your charm. Oh, you know what? Micro beads. I don't know if I'm familiar with what a micro bead is specifically. I've used 15s. I would consider those pretty micro, but I don't know if micro bead actually refers to something specific. You can definitely use 15 O's. You just end up with a really beautiful, delicate piece. So usually you can scale up or scale down your beads. And you just have to make slight adjustments with like your clasps, your closures, things like that. But usually the technique doesn't change. Oh, hello, Gussie. Happy Thanksgiving. So here are these adorable hats. And these ones you can buy individually, but they're so cute too. They have a big gold pom-pom on top. Yeah, I was going nuts with these. I ordered every one. I think I ordered every single one that we carry because I love them so much. So these are the little hats. All right, so we're going to be using a charm. We're going to be using a bunch of colors to create stripes. And actually, I thought this was a great opportunity to do this because I never have these three things together. If you've ever been curious about some of the different, more popular gold Toho colors for the Toho rounds, this is matte galvanized starlight. This is galvanized starlight. Oops, dropping it. Okay, this is galvanized starlight, and this is galvanized golden fleece. So I kind of wanted, since I had these on my table, to just do a quick comparison. The golden fleece is a little bit more muted and toned down. The galvanized starlight is your bright, bright gold. And then if you just want something a little bit different, there's also the matte galvanized starlight. So I thought that that was a good comparison. Oh, I know, Gussie, I love the charms too. I love the charms so much. Okay, let me show you the exact colors I used in the bracelet that I did. I used the golden fleece. I used this green, which is semi-glazed clover. Oh, hello, Giggles. Kathy, hello. And Lisa, hello. All right, I used this red, and these should all be there in the shopping bag too. This is opaque pepper red. And then I used this, which is oh my gosh, what is wrong with me today? I keep dropping everything. This is a semi-glazed soft blue. And then I used a white. You can use any white you like. This is a matte color opaque rainbow white. And then I loved this. This is a matte galvanized rose gold, which gave a really nice kind of warm tone. And then I used a purple as well. And the purple I used was transparent rainbow frosted amethyst. So I think these were all the colors that I used. And a little tip when you're planning out your stripes, mix up your shiny colors. Like this is kind of a metallic color. Put that one next to a matte. And then you can do another shiny and then like another matte or frosted. And then you can kind of do like another kind of shinier one. So mixing up your finishes, I think really adds to the overall look when you're all done with your design and kind of makes them pop. These are really nice high contrast colors. So my design, my stripes show through really nicely. But let's say you were doing a pattern that you had a really delicate design with, like intricate. It really helps to put like a really high shine next to a matte just to make it pop and contrast even more. So those are the colors that I used. And these would actually work for other charms too. Like it would work for this charm as well. Now, if we wanted to do like more purples, like maybe we should use this charm for our little sample swatch. So if we're gonna do this one, maybe we'll take out the red, keep the blue, keep this, let's see. Maybe we wanna add another purple. Oh, or maybe we want the brighter gold. Let's put in the brighter gold because this has more of a yellow tone in it too. So this is how I create my color palette. So we see we've got the white, we've got the blue, we've got the purple. We can either keep it like that. I also have this darker purple. Let's add the darker purple in there too. I know I didn't pull a yellow, but I do have this one. We could do this one instead of the gold. I know it needs a little yellow, but maybe that, because that kind of looks yellowy. That kind of match. Oh, that matches nicely. All right, so this is gonna be our color palette. I don't have a shiny bright gold in here. You could put a shiny bright gold in here. And then I just don't want all my darks together. So I'm gonna take this one here and I'm gonna move these around a little bit. So I'm gonna move them around. Maybe we put that gold in there. I want like contrast. There, that needed a contrast between it. Okay. So see, we're just playing. And then maybe this purple goes here. Let's take this purple over here so the purples aren't too close. And then remember, it's gonna cycle back around. So this green will end up next to that purple. But that's a really pretty palette right there. And I really I love this matte galvanized rose gold. Okay, so there's our little charm. And we've got all the matching colors now. So that's really pretty. It's so fun to just match to these charms. They're so precious. Like, I love this hat. Like, look at these cute hats. They're so cute. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull all my other beads away, but I just do wanna show you them. I'm not gonna let go of this color palette, but there's turquoises and purples. I put in a shiny pink into that shopping bag as well. This is galvanized sweet blush if you want like a nice pink for some of those pink charms. More of a matte blue with like a little bit of AB on it as well. So these are all there in the shopping bag. A really dark, more metallic-y green as well is in there. And you just pick the colors you want for your stripes. I love that pumpkin. I would never call this pumpkin, but I love it. And then of course we got the red, and I did put a matte turquoise and a regular turquoise in the shopping bag. And then we've got that golden fleece. Oh, a cream. A cream you can never go wrong with. So there's also a cream there in that shopping bag. And a couple more purples. If you are just playing with color combos to match your charm. And I think this is cornflower. I don't know why. I always remember this color. I like this color. All right, so here we go. So this is gonna be our color palette we're gonna play with for our sample swatch. At the beginning of the show, I did list out the ones that I actually used in this piece here. So you can always go back and rewatch if you want to match that other charm. And I'm gonna put the other ones that we're not using away because we're gonna have a lot to play with today. Okay, so we're gonna put these guys down in the order we picked them and we selected them to play with. So those are all lined up in order. I'm gonna take the other, here's gonna be our charm of choice. I'm gonna put it up there. For now, I'm just gonna move the other charms aside. Okay, so what other items you're gonna need is you're going to need an end piece. This is a great slider clasp. Oh, would cream be better than the white? You know what, in person it is a pretty strong white in there, but good call. You could definitely add cream too. Yeah, it does look like a scarf with mittens. You know, I hesitated to call this stripy sweater because I was like, well, without the context of little knit pieces, which basically are these, like your little knitwear pieces, it doesn't like, I wouldn't necessarily think stripy sweater, but it totally to me looks like a stripy sweater once you pair one of those little charms with it. All right, so this is a slide clasp, and this is the 20 millimeter size. So these we do have in stock, which is great. We have one other size in stock as well. In the future, I think we'll have more sizes. We've had more sizes in the past. I think they're just sold out right now. So this is what this looks like. And it's got two ends and a lobster and an extender chain already attached to it. So it's your entire clasp set all in one. So that's really, really nice. Oh, Linda, I love it. I love, love, love the Comfort Loom. That's great. And Shirley, so for the hat, you get to pick out the style you want. So if you order this style, you'll get this one. If you order this style, you'll get this one. So the mittens are sold as like a pack, and then the hats are sold separately. Yeah, so they're really cute. And then I have to say, I too love the Comfort Loom. I was trying to finish up the sample bracelet at about 8:30 last night, and it was so dark in my house, and I had like a little spotlight on it, and I really appreciated the angle of the comfort loom that we're going to see here in a minute for working on it, especially at night when my eyes were kind of tired and I was kind of tired. So it was really nice to have it at that upright angle and me not hunched over it. So we'll see how that looks here in just a minute. So the other thing you're going to need is some thread. You can do 1G, works really well. And 1G comes in a ton of colors, so you can pick your favorite color. So for the sample piece, I did white, so you can see what white looks like. For this piece here, I'm going to use black only because we can really see black better than any other thread here as we're working on camera. So I always tend to use black, but you can pick a purple thread, a teal, a blue, a cream, whatever you like, a green. 1G comes in a bunch of colors. Now the gift with purchase, if you purchase the loom, besides the $5 off, is you get a spool of 1G thread. You get 2 loom needles. So you get 2 loom needles, and it's not this exact color, but you get a big tube of seed beads as well. So an Art Beads designer blend. So this is just a sample of the size, but you get a nice big tube of seed beads, 2 loom needles, and a 1G thread when you buy the comfort loom as the gift with purchase, in addition to the $5 off. So that's neat. Now, if you need to buy loom needles, I did put some in the shopping cart. I'm going to be using these ones right here. These are a size 12, and they are a long beading needle. You can see how long they are, and this is what they look like, and that's what I'm going to be using. Oh, I like that. So a tip for the slide connectors, I find adding a jump ring between the clasp and connector makes it easier for my fingers to open. Oh, I love that. Okay, that's a great tip, Linda. Okay, we're also going to use some E6000 at the end for glue on our knots. And we just need a scissor, and you'll have to have a jump ring to attach your charm. And that's it, guys. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how best to do this where we can see everything, because we need to string our loom first. So let's pull out the comfort loom. I'm going to scoot my little mat aside, and we're going to string our loom first. Okay, and I'm going to pull this up. You can see this is going to be a little bit tricky, but we're going to figure it out. Okay, so here is the comfort loom. So like I said, this is already assembled. So what makes this different than other looms, to me, there's 2 main things. One, you work at an angle like this. So you got to imagine that most looms are flat, right? They're flat, so you're bending over to look at your piece of loom work at this flat angle. This one is an upright loom. So like I was saying, last night when I was working and it was late and I was tired, but I'm like, I'm not going to bed until I finish that loom piece. It was really nice to just be looking at it straight on. It definitely helped my eyes with the lighting to see my loom pattern, because you'll see it here as we start to work. We're going like this. We're going back and forth instead of being hunched over. So that's what I think is the biggest factor. The other factor with this loom is right here. This is the smallest size, and this is how I'm keeping it compact because it's going to be easier to see here within the camera frame. But you can extend this out to make it quite a bit longer, which allows you to do a really long piece on this loom. So most looms are like yay big, and it's just, that's all that they are. They're fixed at that width. You're kind of just going to be at that length. You know, that's just life, and that's just the way it is. This one lets you take out these screws, pull it back, and you gain all of this length for a much wider expanse. So that I like about it. I also like up here, you'll see we've got these notches, these little hooks. It's really easy to adjust the tension of your loom with this, because you can just actually rotate these and tighten them with these little wing nuts to kind of tighten up your threads after you've gone ahead and you've strung your loom. So that's what I like about the comfort loom. is, I think it's just easier to actually see your work and do it as you're doing it, and it's actually more comfortable. Okay, so we're gonna thread this. And so I'm just gonna use the 1G. I don't pre-cut it. I keep it on the spool for this. So I'm just gonna take a good length off. And it's really good that Twixie is not here right now because she would think this is the best cat toy device in the world. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna tie a little knot. And we're gonna slip it around the bottom hook. So if you can see right here, there's a little bottom hook, and I just slipped that little knot on there. I think you could start from the top or the bottom. I don't think it really matters. Okay. And this loom in the instructions, so you give it a little tug, make sure it's not going anywhere. In the instructions, it says to do 2 strands for your starting strand and your edges. So 2 here, do a double, and then singles. So I'm gonna do that, and when we were doing this in the last live that we showed, like how to assemble this, a lot of people said that's quite common with like tapestry work, and I had not heard that before. So that was neat to learn. So I am gonna do the double strand on the sides. Now, a quick note about sizing and spacing before we begin. This is the 20mm clasp. Let me show you what that looks like with 9 beads. These are 9 size. Here, let me move this down so our lighting's a little better for a second. Okay, these are 9 beads across. Your final row gets tucked into the well here. So that's where your end row goes. So this is as wide as it's gonna go, is maybe even a little bit, not too wide, but you could also do 8 beads. I think what I'm trying to say is you can do 8 or 9 beads. You'd have a little bit more wiggle room if you only did 8 beads wide. I did 9 because it was kind of exact. But I will say up here, see how you see just the peak of that little red bead? It was a tight fit. It was a tight fit to get that last row in with the 9 beads. So this is kind of as wide as you're gonna go, and it is pushing it just a little bit to do 9 beads. So you could choose, you can make a choice to make it 8 beads wide. You would see just a little bit of the metal. So do you guys want me to do it with the 9 beads or show you what it would look like with the 8 beads? I've never done it. I haven't done it with the 8 beads, so I would be doing this for the first time too. But it's up to you. We can either do it with the 9 and I can show you how it's a little bit tight, but it works, or we can see what it would look like with the 8 beads wide. It does not matter for our pattern because it's just stripes. Show 8. Okay, we'll do 8 then. So if you are having it 8 wide, you need 9 different strands going this way because you need that 1 extra. To make sure that you have them on both sides. So we're gonna do it with 9 strands, but we're gonna double the first and double the last. So now with previous looms, I've been really meticulous and I've counted the rungs. I don't feel like I have to do that with this one. This is a really wide loom. So I am just going to eyeball, and this has worked fine for me before. I'm going to just eyeball a starting spot right here. I'm going to stretch it all. Yes, I am using size 8/0 Toho rounds. And that's what's going to let this work up really quickly and really easily. It kind of gives it that sweatery look too, because it's a little bigger scale. So I am just looking at this straight on, and I am just extending up to the one that's up in line right here. Now, you could count each one over here and end up there, and count each one down here and end up here. I feel like I'm okay to just eyeball this one because this is such a wide expanse. Then let me move this camera up again. Sorry, I did say I was gonna have to do a bit of this. Okay, then we're gonna go over here, loop around our little hook, and now we're gonna go back over the same one that we just did to create the double strand. So I'm just laying it on top of. So this is our double edge strand. Now with the 8/0s, we're gonna skip a rung to give ourselves more space. I tried it to begin with just the same positioning I would have done for 11/0s, and it ended up buckling because it wasn't enough space. So I'm gonna look very carefully here. I'm gonna skip the next rung. So I'm gonna skip this next one and go to the one that's 1 over. And then I'm gonna pull it up and do the same thing on this side. So it's actually, I'll show this as soon as I can without losing my tension. Okay, so you see, I skipped a little rung, and now I actually have a pretty nice wide expanse, which is actually very helpful for the looming. Okay, same thing here. I'm gonna skip one and go into the next one. Pull it on down. Put it into the same position over here. Okay, wrap it around. And so we need this to be 9 threads wide to give us 8 slots for our beads, which is a row of 8. And this is probably one of the most just not tedious, but you just got to do this. It takes the time to do it. I'm holding the tension pretty tight as I go. I can adjust my tension later. Okay, up and over and down and down. So let's see where we're at. No, if I was using 11/0s, I would do every single rung. Great question, which is what I started with this project, and I actually ended up manually repositioning my threads, and it worked. I took my chain nose pliers, and I manually repositioned my threads, and it did work. Because what happened was there wasn't enough space for the beads, and they ended up buckling. They ended up almost like a piece of fabric folding in on themselves. But the 8/0s, you would definitely just do every one. So let's see what we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is number 9. Okay, and because that's the end one, I'm gonna count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And because this is an edge one again, I'm gonna double it. So I'm just going back over that same one again. Okay, so this is what we've got. So this is strung now, but what we need to do is we need to adjust the tension and we need to tie this off. So I'm gonna just turn this around. It's still on my spool. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to wrap it around here a couple times just to give myself a little help with my tension. Then I'm gonna cut it off my spool and I'm gonna tie a knot. So hopefully we can see this. I just went around it. I'm still holding my tension tight. And we're gonna tie a knot. Okay, and I'm gonna do that again. So I'm tying this onto it because eventually I'm gonna cut it off of it as well. And I always extra knot. Okay, so that's done. So now what we need to do is check our tension. So we've got it strung. You can see that. And you kind of can go like this. And I am noticing this is a little looser right here than it is right here. So what I'm gonna do is hopefully this will work. I'm gonna loosen up my wing nut. Oh, good, Kathy. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad that this is making sense. So you can loosen up whichever wing nut you want. I'm gonna loosen this one and I'm gonna just rotate ever so slightly. And then I'm gonna tighten my wing nut. And now it looks a lot cleaner. And if you go like this, there's better tension. I could maybe even tighten that a little more, although that feels pretty good. So that's another nice thing about this loom is the loom itself allows you to tighten your tension on your threads without having to actually do anything with your threads. Okay, so we're ready to go. Another tip. Okay, and you're gonna see this as we go. So just like, because I always like to share like the problem solving stuff, because I figure if I run into it, someone else is gonna run into it, and it's better to know up front and then have a solution. Okay, so we just talked about how we went into every other rung, because when it was with every rung, it was too wide. It was buckling. So it was basically like folding in on itself. The only situation when you go every other one is it's just a little bit wide. And what you're going to see is if you started your loom work right up here, it's kind of going to separate out your beads a little bit. So I would say start your looming down here more. Now what that does mean is it's going to be totally fine for our sample piece, and I kept this condensed so we could see it. And I did this whole bracelet as well on here, and it worked out fine. But if you're gonna maybe do like a 7-inch bracelet or something like that, I would extend your loom out. I would go at least one more, and I would extend your loom out so that you're not working right up here. You're working more right here. And so that's kind of a nice, you know, it sat cleaner and nicer when it was like in this section here. And you can easily extend your loom so it does sit in that section regardless of how long of a piece you're gonna make. So that's the only other tip about placement of beads and spacing and warp threads, because it was a little bit of a learning curve when I was trying to use the 8s versus the 11s. Okay, so now that we've talked about that, we're ready to actually start our loom work. So again, camera position time. We're going to try to make this as easy to see as possible. And I did see the question about the double strands. So I have never done that before except for on this loom, and I'm doing it on this loom because the instructions say to do it. I think it's optional. I think it's optional. I think this would be a totally fine, structurally fine piece with a single strand on each side. I also am doing it because we did have a really great conversation in the last show where a lot of people said that's very common with tapestry and textile design, where you do a double on the outside for more security. So I'm doing it like that. But I think you'd be fine with a single or a double. So a quick note on that. I've got this little string right here. I'm just going to trim that. Okay, so now we're going to lay out our beads. I'm trying to think the best way that we can see what's happening here. Okay, I'm going to take the bead colors that we, what size bracelet does the setting make? Oh, so this here is 20 millimeters wide, and you can make it as long as you like. Oh, what paper would you use to design a pattern? So that's a great question, Lydia. We actually have free loom paper, and Michelle or Thaisa can definitely provide a link if you would like to download it, and then you can have it and do whatever you like with it. I just saw another great question. I'm sorry I missed it. So I'm lining up my beads down here in the same order that we had just talked about. So you can see right here, I'm lining up my beads, little piles of the same colors that we had talked about. Yeah, we have a lot of free graph paper, not just looms. It's a free resource, and you're welcome to download it and do whatever you like with it. It's great to be able to have that paper. Okay, so I'm just putting a little piles out, and I'm putting them out in the order I'm gonna pick them up. This is such a pretty purple. Metal suede pink, but it's definitely looking purple. Okay, we're just gonna keep doing this. Okay. And I do think that a lot of items from the show are on sale right now with that Black Friday sale, so that's nice too. Always good to get a sale as well. Okay, so here we go. We're almost got them all out, and we had one more purple. I love this purple too. Okay, so we are then, oh, and I should also mention the clasp is adjustable for length, so it can add just a little bit to your design or a lot. So you can do even a smaller piece of beadwork and use the chain extender portion of it more, or you can do longer. Oh, what's the length between the rings in this setting? Ooh, great question. Do I have a ruler? I usually have a ruler, sometimes I do. So if we were to extend this out all the way, like so, let me see if I have a ruler here. Okay, I don't think I have a ruler handy, but this is a 2.5-inch tube. Let's just see. So I would say this is in the over 2.5 inches, maybe closer to 3, that you can extend this all the way out if you wanted to. And you can see we've got the rings right there attached to the lobster clasp. And then you can make this also very small as well. So you can go all the way up here, and then you're only looking at probably 1 inch. So you've got the 2 options to make it really long or not so long at all. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our long needle. This is a nice loom needle. So you use a loom needle because I'm gonna show you this real quick. Essentially what you're gonna do is you need to put all your beads onto your needle. You need to push it like this, and it needs to have all the beads sit between your rungs. So you have to have a long needle. So this is what I'm gonna be using this for. In terms of how much length to cut to start with, oh, how long are the strings you've set up on the loom in this setting of the loom? Oh, let me go get a ruler for that. I know where one is, real quick. All right, so for the loom strings in this here, it's about 7 inches. Let's see. It's about 7 inches. And then here, wide-wise, not quite 1 inch. So 7 by about 1 inch. Not quite 1 inch though, because it will fit into that 20 millimeter setting. Good questions though. All right, so with loom work, I find I always need to add more thread as I go. So I don't ever start with a completely like unwieldy amount of thread. I start with what I consider to be a manageable amount. For me, that manageable amount is about 2 yards. It's about 2 arm lengths. So if you've ever like measured fabric before and tried to get like a basic yard, you stretch out your arm and you turn your head to the side and you kind of measure it from the tip of your nose to the tip of your fingers, and that kind of gives you about 1 yard. So I do 2 of those. Then you usually do have to add more thread as you go, but I find it just too overwhelming to work with more like 4 yards, which is kind of what you might need at the end of the day. So I tend to work with just about 2 yards. I'm not going to cut even that much right now because we're going to do a sample amount so that we're able to do enough, pull it off of here, and then, oh, Nancy. Well, Merry Christmas early. I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to cut this off of the spool. I have heard some people say they work off of the spool. I've never been able to do that with the loom work, but I have heard that said before. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna just put our needle on here, find the right side, and we are going to do 1 inch or 2, and then we're gonna pull it off the loom so we can see how to attach that clasp. Okay, so I've got this. I tend to like double it a little bit just so that it's even more manageable to work with. And now we're gonna pick up our first stripe. Okay, so let's see if we can make this so we can see everything that's happening. And I'm gonna position it starting about here, okay? So let's see, if you need me to stop and do a close-up, let me know. So we're gonna pick up 8 beads. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8 beads on your needle. you're gonna go from the underside and you're gonna spread them out so they go between each rung. And if you've done loom before, you know that this is usually a pain to do this first one, but it's actually pretty easy in this case because you do have that extra width happening there. Okay, so now we've gone through, we don't have a knot on our end. We're just gonna keep pushing up these beads with our finger. Pull your thread through, make sure you leave a tail. You need to be able to leave a tail to weave in and tie off. Now we're gonna go through our beads again on the top side and come out the other side. And then you're gonna kind of tighten it up a little. And that's your first row. And then we're gonna do another row. So we're gonna do, and remember that first one gets hidden. So whatever color you start with is actually gonna get hidden. And you can even pull your thread a little bit right now to give yourself a little longer tail, which is nice. Okay, so now we're gonna pick up the gold. So same thing, 8 beads, we're just doing stripes. You can absolutely do a pattern though, of course. And I'm sure that Thais and Michelle put that free beading pattern info in there too. So this is 6, 7, 8. Okay, and the first one could be a little loose and wobbly here, and that's okay. Okay, so this is our second row. Okay, we went from the bottom, we're pressing up. We're gonna pull our needle out this side. And we're now gonna go through the top. So I'm still pressing those beads because they're not anchored yet. Not until you go all the way through the top side are they anchored. Let's pull it out. And there's row number 2. So now we've got 2 rows, and they are a little wobbly to begin with. And they just take a little bit to straighten up. So then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another stripe. And this is what I was talking about, like you're working at an angle. So the reason I'm starting in the middle is because of the spacing of my strands. So spacing them with every single rung. Uh-oh, I let my finger go. Okay, well, good to show. I let my finger go, so I have to, let's see if I can reposition these or if I have to start over on that one. And then I'll tell you why I'm starting in the middle. Oh, I was able to fix it. Okay, so I put them back and I'm pressing them up again. And then I'll answer that question as soon as I anchor these guys. Okay, then I went through the top. So the reason I'm starting in the middle is the spacing specific to these 8/0s. So if I had done, so let me show you. Okay, see how this is actually a bit wider than what we actually need it to be. When I did it with every single rung, like you would do with an 11/0, for the 8/0s, it buckled, it folded in on itself. So I had to space these out wider. But right up here is a little too wide. But when you're down in the middle here more, it's not as wide because it's kind of like it's fanning out a little bit up top here and at the bottom. But it's a little bit easier to tighten it up in the middle. So that's why I'm starting in the middle for this. If I was doing 11/0s and it was every single one, I would start up higher. So hopefully that answered it. It was just kind of a way of making it work easier with this size bead and the spacing. Okay, so there's our third row. You can always give these a little tug as you go. And then I'm going to use this beautiful matte galvanized rose gold. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, 8 beads onto the needle. And then we're going to go ahead and stick it here. Push them up through the rungs. Yeah, I had a little problem solving to do with this one just because I usually use 11s. I don't usually use 8s for my loom. And I wanted kind of that bigger, easier, fun, like sweatery feel. So I thought the 8s worked really well with that, but it did take a little bit of like, oh, what do I do in this case? And right now it's like caught my little tail here. Okay. Okay. So we don't necessarily have bulk bead packs, but I do know we have some like Art Beads designer blends. They're really beautiful assortments, and you could then pick out the colors for stripes, and they come in like that large tube, like what we're giving away for our gift with purchase. So like the Art Beads designer blends come in these really big tubes. So like here you could absolutely make a stripy sweater from this, and you get a lot of beads, But maybe Michelle or Thaisa have ideas for bulk beads too. Maybe there's something I don't know about as well. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and we're just gonna go up here. And it is fun to come up with patterns for loom work. You can do all sorts of designs. I think there's even software that you can like put in a photograph and then it like prints out the bead pattern for you. There's a lot you can do with loom work. This is kind of your quickest and most easy, the stripes, but you can definitely branch out from there. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I get all of our colors in here. And then I definitely wanna show taking this off and adding the clasp. So we'll see how many stripes we do before we wanna do that. Because I need to have it a little bit thicker so that it kind of doesn't fall apart. Okay. And right now I'm just making sure it's not near those wing nuts. Pull. Okay, so let me show you what we've got so far up closer. So we're doing stripe after stripe after stripe. And hopefully here you can kind of see it's getting narrower in the middle, and then these are the ones that are kind of wider. Now what you can also do, you can move your beadwork. You can slide it. You can move it up or down. You can kind of reposition it as you need to as well, because the beads are just anchored to themselves. They're not anchored to this at this point because we haven't done any knots or anything. So you can slide it if you're finding like you run out of room. You can actually carefully slide your beads. Okay, let's do a couple more. We want to definitely get our full color pattern here. And then I think I will do just a few more after that. So then we'll pull it off. So 8 more of these. 4. And this will be good. We'll see what an 8 one looks like compared to the 9, which will be fun as well. Okay. Okay, so position that one. And I do believe that in the show that I showed how to assemble this, I also showed how to add more thread. So that's another good thing to know. So I did show how to add more thread. Okay. And then let's do the purple. All right. Oh, thank you for the hearts, guys. This is a fun loom to work with. It really is. It is like, I'm very grateful right now that I'm not bending over to look at this piece. It is very nice to look at it straight on. All right. So we have, oops, I know I got stuck on a wing nut over here. Okay, so you see how that kind of dropped? It's okay. It's still fine because it's anchored properly. So we just need to tighten it up. So you can just kind of tighten it up there, and it's on. Okay, so let's look at it with our charm to see how our color palette looks. Okay, so here are our stripes, and here's our little mitten charm. So I think the colors really work. I like the colors a lot. I'm just gonna do a couple more stripes to give us a good foundation to take this thing off of the loom, so it's got at least some structure to it. So now we go back to our first color. So we just go back to where we started. Now we're going to do some more green. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we're just going to put that on there. I I love it, Nancy. I know, I love the mitten charms too. The mittens and the hats, they're great. They're just perfect. Like that detailing on them. Yeah, I love the mittens and hats. Well, that's what this whole project came about from, was those charms. I was like, I have to use them and I have to do something that feels kind of sweatery with them. Okay, so I'm gonna do my gold. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I'm just gonna do a couple more and then we're gonna pull this. Okay, so then the gold, and we're just seeing this nice repeat pattern. Okay, let's just do 2 or 3 more. Okay, because I also need to show you how to tie this off. Okay, maybe that'll be enough. I want to show how to tie it off because I forgot I need to show how to tie it off too. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to end with the gold. I'm just going to put in another row that could be any color because it's going to get covered up. So maybe that will help to kind of show that it doesn't matter what color it is. So I'm just going to pick random colors here. It doesn't matter because it's my end row. So it really doesn't matter what colors. So 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8. Okay. So it doesn't matter for your end rows. It really doesn't matter. You're putting one set of mitten charms on a miniature Christmas tree. I love it. Okay, so this is our end row. It's going to get hidden, so I'm just doing random colors to kind of show that it really doesn't matter. And you would bead as long as you want for your bracelet. You would do 5 inches, 6 inches, whatever it may be. Now we're going to go ahead and do this row as normal, and then we need to do our finishing techniques. Okay, so this is what we've got. So we've got all the stripes. I've got my end row right here, but I need to tie off my thread. So I'm going to try to position this camera again so we can see it maybe a little bit better here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so when it comes time to tie it off, what you need to do is you're going to work your thread back into your loom work. So we exited here. We're going to go up a row, and we're just jumping up a row. And I actually like to go up several rows. So I'm just going to go up there, and I'm going to go up the next one. And it's kind of nice because it even gives like a little more security to your work. So up through the next one, and then I'm going to go through the next one, but I'm going to pop out after a couple beads. So I'm just going to pop out after a couple. So if you can see this, I just pulled my needle out. And so we're going to go ahead here, and then we're going to slip our needle under the thread bridge. We talk about this a lot when we're working, but it's same here as for like bead weaving. So let's see if you can see that. So there's a little thread bridge right there. I slipped under it. And we're just going to go through our little loop. And there's a little knot now right there. I'm going to do another knot right in the same spot. It gets hidden within the beads, so it's not too bulky. What is catching me though is this little wing nut over here. Okay. And I'm going to do another one just through that and pull it down. I'm going to go through a couple more beads, and that will slip that knot into the beads. I'm going to come out again. And this is a process. It's very soothing and calming to do. I actually really enjoy the process of loom work, but when you are finishing it off, just take your time. I'm going to slip under another thread bridge. And make sure that that's not too kinked. Go through my loop and pull it down. I'll do one more. Oh my gosh, this wing nut is driving me nuts. There you go. Okay. I love the wing nuts for adjusting the tension, but they do occasionally get caught on your thread. Okay. All right, so now I've got a couple knots. I'm going to go through one more bead. And it's the top of the hour. Okay, so I went through another bead, and now I'm going to trim that thread. I'm just going to go ahead in this tail right here, trim. Okay, so one side is tied off. We have to tie off the other side as well, otherwise it will come undone on us. So we're just going to go back to our tail. Thread our needle. Always fun threading needles here on camera because I'm always like looking over and looking through the camera. Come on. All right, let me trim that end. So Twixie, last I saw she was in with the boys. The boys are home because it's Thanksgiving break, so they get a week off. Last I saw she was hanging out with them. But she was helping me set up, and I was like, oh, what are you going to get into, girly? Okay, so we've got that on there, and this is why you leave a pretty long tail, because this is a pretty long needle. I know, threading needles. I feel like it didn't used to be so hard. Okay, so I'm going to go back down through the next row, next to this one too. Come through. Same thing on this row. Go all the way through, come through, and then on this one, I'm going to start popping up again. Okay, and go under thread bridge. My tail is a little longer than my thread. There we go. Go through that little loop. And pull it down. I'm going to do another knot right there. Go through the little loop. And pull it down, and then go through a couple more. So I would do another one or two. I think for time, because I know we're kind of running long today, I want to be able to pull this off and get the clasp on and this knotted. So what I'm going to do right now is you would just tie another knot or two, and then you would trim your tail. All right, so then we have our secured piece of loom work, but now we got to get it off the loom, and we got to actually secure it to the clasp. Okay, let me pull this up so we can see the full expanse of the loom at this point. So to cut it off the loom, you actually are just going to cut your threads up by your little hooks. Hello, Tracy. Okay, so I'm going to pull it off. I'm just going to cut my thread right here. And I'm going to cut my thread up here, cut it as close to the loops as you can to give you as much area to work. So there is our piece of loom work off of our loom, and we're done with the loom at this point. So there's our piece of loom work. And what I like to do is I take a Ziploc and I cut it in half so it opens up, because I'm going to be using glue. I don't want to get glue on my work surface. Okay, so we're going to lay this down onto our now protected little mat. And these strands are probably even longer than I need them to be. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, so I'm going to cut these a little shorter because I don't need them that long, and they're kind of going to get in the way. Okay, so we're going to tie some knots now, and I'm only going to do one side because of time here, but you would do the exact same treatment on both sides. Let me scoot some of these aside so I have more space to pull this down. Okay, so you can use any type of tape for this next step. I'm going to use some scrapbooking wasabi tape, which is very similar to like painter's tape. It's a nice tape in that it's not too sticky, but it's sticky enough that it's going to hold what I need it to hold, but I can pull it off. Okay, so I'm going to take some, and for the purposes of this demo, I am going to tape this side up here so it stays put. You can do this too if you like, even if it's not the demo, because you're going to be able to pull that tape easily off. So I'm going to now see how low I can get this camera. Maybe I need to elevate my surface a little so you can see this. Let's see if this is gonna work. This might not work, but I wanna see if I can get this up closer. Is that better or worse? Let's see. Okay, hopefully that's a little easier to see at this point. Okay. We're improvising. Oh, great close-up. Okay, good. I know, I'm like, I want us to be able to see this because it's important. Let me get a piece of paper. Okay. All right. We can figure this out. Much better, much better. Okay. If there's a will, there's a way, right? Okay, and that's too dark of the loom against it, so here we go. Okay, so hopefully we can see this better now for the tying off. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to tie individual knots to be able to secure this. So I do have my chain nose pliers handy if I need them to get into a tight corner here. So we're going to take, so remember this one here is doubled, and we're gonna separate it out. I always feel like a hairdresser at this point, and I'm gonna separate out the one next to it and pull these guys off to the side. You can use like a little weight for them, you can use tape, whatever. So basically we're just isolating the two, well in this case 3 strands because there's a double one, the 3 strands that we're focusing on. So I'm gonna pick these 2 up together and I'm gonna tie a little knot right here with these 2. And I'm just gonna pull it down to the bead. And then I'm gonna tie another knot with the same strands. And I'm gonna go through twice. And I'm gonna pull it down to that bead. So you've got that double knotted right there. And now I'm gonna go take this tape, which I bought for actually an art project for my son's class, but it's coming in handy. I'm gonna separate these out and tape them down. So those are done. Okay, now I'm gonna go do the same with the next 2. Okay, and I have the scissor up here because I'm just trying to hold this in place. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the next 2. Again, I feel like a hairdresser. It's fun. Okay, separate these ones out. You can even, if you like, I was using my scissors to hold everything in place. You can even trim the ones you've already done a little bit if it's just too many strands in your way. Okay, so put those ones up. Okay, find these 2. And hopefully this is helpful if you're doing this at home and there's a close-up of how to do this. Okay, I got the 2 strands again. Tie a little knot, pull it down to your bead, and then we're gonna do another knot, go through twice. And pull it down. Now, if your knots don't look pretty, it's okay. They're gonna get covered up. Okay, I'm gonna take a little tape again and tape this one down flat as well. Okay, those 2 are done. We're just gonna keep going. Okay, and it just takes a little time. And that's why I'm only gonna show one side here for this on this demo here, but you would do this on both sides. And you would do this for any loom piece that you did. So this is not necessarily an exclusive technique to the comfort loom. You would do this on any one for a finishing technique here. Okay, so we got that little knot on there. Just a couple more to go. And we're gonna end up with an interesting situation here on the end, I can see, and I'll show you what to do about that. Because you're gonna be left with 2 strands, the double strand, but they have nothing else to tie to. So we're gonna just keep going, and then we're gonna include that one. Okay. Again, oh, thank you for the hearts, guys. I know that this is long, but hopefully it's helpful to show the whole process here. I didn't want to show how to do this stripy sweater and not how to add a clasp. Okay. Okay, almost done with this one. Okay, Oh, actually, I don't want to do that just yet. So again, this tape is easy because you just pull it off. Okay, so we have this end situation. Now, if we had done an even number of rows, we would have an even number to tie to. But because we did an odd number of rows, we've got this side one hanging out that's not been tied to anything yet. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to take these other, you could take one or two, the other ones that are next to it, and we're going to use them. Oh, great question about one of the clasps being back in stock. Yeah, they do come and go in stock. I know that we've had them and then they run out and then we get them back. But great question about when. That's a good one for Michelle and Thaisa. Okay, so again, we're just tying it. I've got these two together. Come on, play nice. Okay. All right, and now that one has been knotted. So now all of your strands are knotted to something or to one another, and you've got them all laying nice and flat here. So this is what we've got for our finishing. Oh, thank you, Nancy. Okay, so here we go. So we got the knots. It's not pretty looking, and I wanted to do it against the one that has the kind of irregular beads, the ones that are all mix and match, so you can see that that's going to get covered up. Now we're going to take our glue. I'm going to be using E6000, and I'm going to be putting a little bit of glue on all of my knots. Oh, let's get that white paper under here again so we can see it. Okay, so we're just going to put a little bit of glue in a little pile off to the side. And we're just going to grab a little bit on a toothpick and we're just going to press it into our knots. Don't worry if you get glue on your beads. They're going to be hidden. We're just putting a little glue on those knots for added security. And it really is okay if you get glue on the beads. But make sure you press that into your knots so they've got some glue on them to secure them. All right, so it is now ready to add our clasp, but we should let it dry. I'm gonna not let it dry and hope it doesn't fall apart because we would need to let it dry for at least like an hour, and we're not gonna have time for that. So real quick before we attempt this where it's not necessarily 100% dry, here again was what it is going to look like with this little mitten charm. That's part of that little charm set, which is so cute. I love the colors we chose. Really cute. Okay, so what you will do, we're going to try to do this because we have one end finished, one end not finished. I'm going to try, we're being creative today to make this work. All right. Oh, yes, Christy, the replay will come available shortly after we say goodbye today. Okay, so here is our piece. You would have both ends finished. So both ends would look like this. I need to keep this taped here so it doesn't fall apart for adding my clasp. And we are going to pretend that that glue is dry, and we're gonna hope it doesn't fall apart on us. So a couple things with fingers crossed here. But you would let yours dry. Once it's dry, you're gonna snip your ends. So you don't need to snip them right against the knot, but it needs to be kind of close because of the size of your tube well. So let me also separate this out because you're gonna separate this out. Okay, so you've got the two ends separated out. Doesn't really matter which one you use first and on which side. And I don't think it either really matters which way they go on. Okay, so again, your glue would be dry. Okay, you're gonna snip the ends, kind of close to the knots, but not super, not like right on the knots where you would risk cutting them. Okay, so that's now off. I am going to cut this paper because I do need to keep, how should I do this? Actually, let me try pulling this off with the strands attached. Okay, that might work better. Okay, So we're just gonna do this because it's a sample piece. I just don't want it to come undone. And then let me just get rid of these. Okay, so this is what we've got now. So this is the working piece that we're gonna work with. Now we're gonna take one of our slide ends right here, and we are going to probably need to trim these ends just a little bit more. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is slide this over the end beads by also having it just kind of wiggle in here. And this is where I'm like, fingers crossed that the glue is dry or dry enough. And so you see how it kind of ate up that blue bead? And you just wiggle, just gently wiggle, and we're going over that end row. Keep going, keep going. Okay, and then right here, there's that thread I needed to trim a little bit better because it's kind of getting stuck. Let's see if I can trim it here. Okay, keep wiggling, keep wiggling, keep wiggling. Just be patient, keep wiggling. Okay, keep going. And it's in. Oh, I like the 8 across, guys. I like that we made that decision. Okay, now you got to fold over the topper. You can add a little bit more glue right here on that end row. I think that's probably a really good idea. And then what you're going to do is I like to take my chain nose pliers and I bend this as much as I can with my pliers over. So see, it's now at an angle compared to being straight up and down. And then I use the pressure of my work surface. I'll use my loom so you can see this. I use the pressure of my work surface to fully close it. So I put it down, right? Oh my gosh, I've got some kids in the background. And then I push it on and it closes it. So I push it against a hard surface and it closes it. And I really do like the 8 across versus the 9. So that's how you would finish it. And you would do that on both sides. And then it's okay, Finn. He doesn't have to. He can come out. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Sorry. All right. So here is the sample piece we did. And then here was the 9 across. And here was the 8 across. And the 8 definitely fit more comfortably into that 20 millimeter clasp closure there. So you can see what it looks like. And that was using that comfort loom. And then I'm going to show the mitten charms again and the hat charms for anybody who joined us late. This whole design and idea came from these adorable, adorable charms that we've got that I had to do something with. So I was calling this my stripey sweater loom. So you can see, here we go. All of these cute ones. The mittens come as a set and the hats are sold separately where you pick your favorite color of hat. And there you go. Yeah, the 8 is much better than the 9 across. I love it. Oh, great point. So the way I added, thank you for saying that, Linda. The way I added the mitten was just with a little jump ring. So I just put a little jump ring up near here. I didn't put it on the lobster side. I put it on the other side because I thought that would be really cute. But yeah, then you just add a little charm to it. And then, so I did the side for the sample. I would have just added it here, but you can see you would just add, where's our little purple mitten again? Here. You would just add a little mitten charm somewhere in there to bring all the design together. So, all right, that was a long class, you guys. Thank you for sticking with me. I hope that was fun. This is the finished project. And you can hopefully see it actually does work up pretty darn quick because we spent a lot of time talking about the loom and threading the loom. Can you add charms as you weave? Ooh, probably you could add charms as you weave. Just add them in when you go around the bends. I think that would be fun. So yeah, you could definitely do that. I think you could stitch on the charms as you go around the ends and do your rotations. Oh, thank you, Connie. Yes, so this is my stripey sweater bracelet to go with all the little cute knit charms. So, oh, yay, thank you. And I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm going to flip the camera up so I could say goodbye. Just that quick reminder, we're having our Black Friday sale, so up to 75% off. The loom itself is $5 off, and that gift with purchase of the 2 needles, the seed bead tube, and the 1G thread, so that's fun. And then, of course, all these adorable charms and seed beads are there on the website, too. So super cute. Oh, thank you, Tanya. I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving. Let me flip my camera up so we could say goodbye, and then I'll see everyone on Saturday. Oh, and I have a visitor here. And it's not a cat. All right, let me flip the camera. All right. So from my family to yours, have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving, everyone. I will be back on Saturday morning for our Saturday morning cartoons. Oh my goodness, yes.
Switch.
Yes.
My
All right.
switch.
Bye, everyone.
Give me my
And then
switch.
Michelle had that quick reminder, if you have anything in your shopping cart, to make sure we check out, just so you get what you want to play with. But happy Thanksgiving. From my family to yours. Chaos here, always chaos, but good chaos. Bye, everyone. Take care.